We have just received some very important packages. I'm so eager to tear these open and take a look. The delivery guy was so nice. He was so chill. We sat out here in the rain talking about our projects for a little bit, so that was kind of wholesome. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. Straight from the motherland. This looks like it'd be heavy. It's not heavy at all. Can anyone read that? All right, here's the first piece. It's got some pretty nice paint on it. Almost looks pearlescent. Damn. But what we have here is an original Bomex rear diffuser, rear lip for a Z32. This is gonna look insane. It's in such good condition for being probably 20 years old now. All right, let's see what we got in this package. All right, next piece to the puzzle. Original Bomex side skirts. Looks like there's some bubbling going on in the paint. Minor damage, nothing too crazy. You definitely fix that. They feel really thick, oh my gosh. Usually you can flex fiberglass pretty easily. I couldn't resist. Let's do a test fit. Man, these things fit like a glove. Whoo-wee. That's gonna look so good when it's paint matched. And last, and certainly not least, let's open the last package. A quarter panel for the Gloria. They taped a soda box, I guess, in here as structure. Did its job. I didn't want to open it outside because I don't think this can get wet. I'm pretty sure this is just a very light primer. Oh wow, I didn't realize it was gonna come with this part. Secondary piece spot welded in. Ooh, does it come with a gas filler? Yes! I was worried this wouldn't be a part of it. Should we test fit it? No, we can't. Cause see, this is that piece that I was just saying. I'm surprised that it came with that quarter panel. We'll have to drill out some additional spot welds to fit this, but hopefully we will get that done soon. And I gotta say, these juices look really good. Melon cream soda? Come on, that sounds smacking. There's another box in here too, actually. I'm assuming that's some kind of tea. And I don't know about you guys, but I really want to see how this rear lip fits on the car. I really like how they made it a lip and not an entire bumper. It just basically hugs the stock bumper and it covers up this, I don't know what you'd call this, the rhino line look, which I don't know why they did that on this car. It goes all the way to the side skirt and the front bumper. Kind of strange. I always knew Bomex was going to fit great, but I didn't know it'd fit this great. There's absolutely no mounting hardware holding this in place. There's a little lip that they built into this kit that hugs that ridge in the bumper. And dude, the fitment is insane. There's a small gap here, but again, I don't have anything holding this in. So once it's mounted, it'll be perfect. Oh, that's sick. Oh my goodness, so cool. This lip actually goes over the tow hook and the exhaust. Great detail. It goes all the way up to here. I'm not sure what this cutout is for. It's got these little extension pieces. That's pretty sick. Man, I love that they created this body line. It flows so well with this car. We gotta put the skirt on this side, get the full effect. I feel like we almost have to put the front bumper on to get the full effect. It looks so weird with the stock front. It's kind of neat that you have to take off the turn signal to get access to these bolts. I guess changing out the bumpers temporarily will also force me to dial in this fitment because it is getting out of whack. The heck is this? Some garbage? Hey, actually, while the bumper is off, I can replace these fog light bulbs because both of them stopped working. How do you get to the bulb? Do you have to unscrew this too? We're getting sidetracked, but I really want to figure this out. I don't exactly want to put this face down on concrete, so I'll do it on the grass. Aha! There is a bulb in there. I don't know if this is factory. I almost want to say it's not, but it looks like there's a butt connector in there to twist these wires together. What kind of bulb is this? There is some rust on the bulb, which tells me there's moisture getting in, which is probably why it's blown. Both of these bulbs worked when I first got this car. Looks like it's an H3. Don't have any of those here. Gonna have to order them. Maybe I'll order yellow ones. That'd be sick. Guess we'll just put these back on for now. I love when body kits utilize the stock turn signals or stock lighting. Moment of truth. Damn. This is so sick. I cannot stop smiling. This is gonna be one sick unit when it's painted. Jeez. Alright, we gotta test fit the wing. Some of you guys know I have a wing for it. Unfortunately, it's not a Bomex wing. I could not find a Bomex wing for the life of me. I don't know if the 2+2 is different from the 2+0 Bomex wing, but either way, I still can't find one. So if you can find one, please let me know. It actually looks very similar to the one I'm about to test fit. This wing that I have is a Wings West wing. It's considered a mid-mount. There's like a low, a middle, and then there's one that's even higher. Take out these screws so they don't scratch my trunk. I don't exactly know how I'm going to hold up this wing onto the trunk and get a look at it, so I'm going to try and use my camera mount and see if that can hold it in place. Might be a little sketchy, but we'll do it real quick. Here it is, rough mock-up. I love how the wing kind of hangs back over the rear of this car. It's almost even with the bumper. I feel like it really helps give it that early 2000s vibe, which I guess is what I'm going for. I didn't realize that, but looking at the car now, it's definitely what I'm going for. Everything on this build is technically period correct. Although I guess technically the shift knob is a newer version. I couldn't find a classic ready. Shout out to Omar for that knob though. Let's get a front shot. I was not planning on test fitting all of the body kit today, but here we are. But I'm glad we did, because now I'm super hyped to get it painted. There are some wires on this wing, and that's because it actually has a third brake light. I like that it's tucked under the wing, so when you're just standing around it, looking at it, you can't tell. But if you're driving behind it, you can see it. I love this car. The rear end looks so cool on it. Now the difference with the Bomex wing is I think it goes at less of an angle. Like this one's more laid back. The Bomex goes a little bit straighter up and a little bit higher, probably to around here. It's not that I don't mind this wing. I actually prefer this wing, but if I can have a complete matching Bomex kit, that would be ideal. Well, it was a joy to see this thing with the full kit installed. I'm curious to know what you guys think about it. Would you change anything on it? I guess we better put it back to stock before I start driving it around like this. Sad to take the kit off, but it is what it is. We gotta wait for paint. While I had the hood open, I thought I smelled a whiff of coolant. So I'm doing a quick visual inspection here, and I'm noticing it's a little wet around this area. And there is a coolant temp sensor here, and it looks like it's also wet on the plug. I don't know if it's leaking through that sensor or not, but I do have a new OEM one here, so I might as well just slap this one on and see if that actually fixes the problem. I know that's not really much of a diagnosis, but if I have the new part that I was already planning on putting on the engine, I might as well, right? You know you're working on something old when you have to pull out pins to get off the connector. Ooh, it's gunked up. Before I take off the old one, I want to compare it to the new one. This connector is blue. Looks like it'll fit. That's good. Old versus new. Same. Well, at least same length. Clean up the mounting surface. Since these sensors utilize crush washers, we do not have to put thread sealant on here. It just goes straight in. It seals through the crush washer. After inspecting the old sensor, I don't really think this one was an issue. Slide that pin back on there. This isn't really a maintenance item, but since I'm replacing an important sensor on the engine, I'm gonna log it, date, mileage, and what you did. The car drives fine, and there's no coolant leak, so I don't know what I smelled. But we have just arrived at Omar's. We need to chop up the rest of the Nissan Gloria that I left in his backyard. If you guys aren't aware, basically his neighbors complained that there were too many cars here. So we had to move all of our project cars out of Omar's house because apparently in Will County, you're only allowed to have 4 or 5 cars on the driveway. And his backyard technically counts as his driveway. Pretty bogus, but it is what it is. We're just working through it. This is what's left of the Gloria. I posted it up to see if anyone wanted to grab it for any parts. It still has all 4 subframe studs intact. It'd be a great candidate for a rear-wheel drive swap, but unfortunately no one came back to me or followed through, so I gotta chop it up and scrap it. I'd love to keep it, but obviously I don't have the space for it. Much better. It's in like 8 pieces now. I can't believe these came so quick. The yellow fogs are actually here. I wonder if I can take off these fog lights without taking off the bumper. I guess I really only need access through here. Might have to turn the wheel to get to it. This thing honestly has great angle for all stock geometry. It is S13 geometry, as you guys know, but no angle mods. That's pretty decent. A lot more than factory Z32, I'll tell you that much. I did not gain us much access, but I can see the nut, so that's promising. I got to it. There's no way I can fit the camera in there though. My arm is fully extended to here. Sweet. Oh, they're LEDs. Huh, double-sided too. Should fit in the notches, all right. Hook it back in. And I absolutely hate to do this, but I'm gonna reuse that butt connector. All right, now we'll just put it all back together and see if it works. Before I put the nuts into the back side of it, I should probably make sure it works. In order to turn the fog lights on, the headlights have to be on. And it's this button. Looks like it's lighting up. Oh, that's gonna be sick. I just finished both sides. Let's see how it looks. What do we think? It is a bit yellow. Like, obviously they're gonna be yellow lights, but I wanted to compare it to the sedan Integra. I love these yellows. I think I need to go after a bulb, not a LED. So there's that, right? This is like highlighter yellow. And this is like amber yellow? I don't know. Does that make sense? Do you guys know what I'm saying? Let me know what you think. Speaking of the Integra, a lot of you guys may remember, but we actually replaced the engine this summer. The old one that was in there blew up. It was on its way out, but I never replaced the spark plugs, so I got some OEM ones. I'm really curious to see how the spark plugs in here look. Not horrible, actually. Bosch? What? These gotta take NGKs, baby. The old plugs all looked pretty evenly worn. Nothing out of the ordinary, so good to go. With every repair or maintenance item comes a test drive. I also went ahead and added the spark plugs to the maintenance log. Just got to Nate's because we have some unfinished business here. Some of you guys may remember, but recently when we were working on the right-hand drive Integra, replacing the clutch, we unfortunately did not have enough transmission fluid. We have more trans fluid, we need to finish topping it off. I'm gonna move it onto the driveway because I don't know if we're gonna have to jack it up or not. Really hoping we don't. Not happy. again. Can't see anything. Oh, it's so frozen. Alright, take off the fill plug. Sitting shotgun.
Oh, it's more clear.
Yeah, it's clear with like a pink tint. I really do love this car, but it's unfortunate that the Midwest got the best of it. It's just rusting away, unfortunately. It's been through many winters, and many winters before I even owned it. It was a rust bucket when I bought it 10 years ago. Still one of my favorites. All right, let's go on a quick test drive. This thing doesn't have the best tires on it, so we're not going to take it very far or very fast. I will say, for having an unsprung clutch, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like a regular clutch. It does grip up very nicely though. I want to apologize to you guys for not putting out so many videos like I used to. It's extremely hard to film content in the winter, especially without a garage with decent heat or decent space. But it doesn't mean I'm going to stop making content. I'm still going to try my best. I'm going to do whatever I can. I don't know about you guys, but something that really bothers me about driving manual transmission cars is if it has shifter slop. So for example, this car probably has the worst shifter slop of any car I've ever driven, and it's my own. So I might as well fix it, right? Check this out. This is neutral. That's insane. Now we go in gear. We'll go in first, for example. All right, fine. But then you can neutral check in first. It looks like it's in neutral. This has way too much throw. And sometimes when you're banging gears in this car, you're shifting from second to third, bam, hit the hazard switch or any of these buttons. Let's get under the car and correct that. This is the spare shift linkage that I have. Luckily it's very clean and rust free, so if we need to use this entire thing, we can. So the shifter itself goes right around here, and this is the linkage that attaches all the way to the transmission right here. I feel a little bit of shake here towards the transmission, but I feel like this amount would be considered normal within the transmission. But I see a lot of slop coming from down there. Let's just pull it off and see what we're working with. I feel like we're gonna replace it anyways, might as well, right? Let's start with screwing off the shift knob, because you don't want to forget to do that and try and rip it out and wonder why your shift boot is catching it. Now this shift knob is actually an old axle. I chopped it up and then drilled a hole and inserted threads. And this thing is so heavy. I also welded the shift linkage together. It was one of my first projects in welding class. Still held up. Now that should be able to drop down freely when the time comes. I'm really hoping we'll be able to get this off without taking the exhaust off, because these nuts do not look too promising. So far we got the straight bar off, but now we need the pivot bar off. And what I found works best to get it out is a 5/32 Allen bit, and you just slide it in there and then hammer it out. All right, hopefully this fits out. Oh, there goes a bolt. We're gonna have to drop the exhaust. I was able to squeeze it out. Let's compare this to the new one. Look at how much longer this shift rod is. This is the stock one. I'm probably gonna put this poly one in, but obviously clean it up. It's supposed to be red. You can't even tell because of how greased up it is. All right, here's where most of the play was happening. Here's the stock one. You can see it has these rubber bushings in between the metal shift rod and the shift linkage itself. Whereas this one, oh my gosh. Yeah, that's just, yeah, not good. It held up, it lasted, but we're gonna just go back to OEM. Well, I ended up seeing dry rot on this energy red bushing, so I'm just gonna leave the stock one on here. Still in good condition. Let's slide the shift linkage under the car. The shift linkage is fully attached now. We still have that same shifter slop that's going on in the transmission. There's not much we can really do about that now, but I'm noticing that there's no slop where the shifter attaches to the linkage. We're about ready for another test drive then. Now there is one slight problem. I don't have a shift knob that will fit the shift linkage. The shift knob that I made out of the axle is not the same thread. It just goes straight through it. Oh well. Still curious to see how it drives. Alright, so far so good. See, I'm in third and there's not much slop. Much better. But I will admit, when I'm driving my Hondas, I feel like the shifter is just too low. And that's ultimately why I made that really long shifter. Plus with this much weight on top, it shifted pretty nice, but there was just too much throw, too much slop. Maybe I'll make another one eventually, but for now, the stock will do. Some of you guys might remember Nick from a previous video, and if you don't, he's the one that polished my R32 GTR wheels. These things were pretty crusty when I got them, and he shined them up like glass. I gave him a valve cover that I had sandblasted, and he gave it back to me, and oh my goodness. This thing is insane. This is a valve cover for a B20, which I guess technically is the same as an OBD2 B18. Unfortunately, the two B18s in my Integras are now OBD1, so the valve covers are different, but I guess it'll make nice wall art. I think that's where we're gonna end today's video. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. Don't forget to drop a like if you haven't already, subscribe to see more. The Gloria is coming next, so stay tuned. Peace.